I think there is a bit of an ego that comes in where we expect other people to come and talk to the things which we are interested in. We are just amplifiers of what's already been said before.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
not coming up with something new. We are just making it more relevant to modern times. I think money gives you so much confidence. Start by reading what you love till you love to read. When Germany and Japan was completely put to ground during the World War, they became more developed than the developed countries now because
Yeah.
they didn't have to change their systems. They had to create new systems, and creating new systems is much more efficient than changing your current system, which is a tedious task. So they are trying to romanticize their life around dating. Don't judge other people uh, through their problems. Don't think that their problem is lesser than yours because you don't know what that problem is doing into their minds.
He came to England in 2012 to study robotics, and his family made a huge effort at that time to help him move and study in the UK. Our guest today started reading self-help books, and from there he realized that really sky was the limit. He then started a YouTube channel, developed himself even further, and now is doing something completely different on the side, which we'll get into in a second. During his university years, he uses to live very frugally as it was very expensive for him to sustain himself in the UK having come from India. His mission now is to help teenage Indians that can't leave their country develop healthy habits and mindsets to build a good life for themselves, which is priceless in my opinion. And his number one goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to build his own education system. We discuss a lot of things, but mainly how he's been able to step out of an old group of friends and really immerse himself in a new group that challenge himself to improve his skills and knowledge over time. Why you need to become interested in other people's lives first in order to become interesting to them. We also talk about, I kid you not, probably like 10 different books and how they helped him. How porn and fapping deplete you of life energy and why practicing no fap has tremendous benefits in one's life by helping strengthen their focus. And Dash also brings a lot of stories to the table, such as the story of Ghandi, the story of his experiments, and a lot of other insightful stories that we really haven't been hearing on the podcast till now. So yeah, it was a very interesting one, and I'll just leave you guys to it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Daksh Jindal. You are listening to The Grateful Show with your hosts Pascu
and Bogdan. Join us on our mission to spread awareness around mental health and make people feel happier and overall more grateful.
Each week, we bring you an inspiring guest, stories, and a message that will help you become your best self and pursue your life mission.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to The Grateful Show. Hope you are doing fantastic, and if you're not, you're about to be, because today we have no one other than Daksh. How is it going, my friend?
I'm good, Bogdan. Thank you for calling me to this show, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Same. We are beyond grateful for you to be here. So just to break off the ice, I'm just going to ask you, what are you grateful for today?
To be honest, I'm grateful for my current life. I got the opportunity to come to a place like England, and living here since 9 years, I've learned so much, and it gave me the privilege to get into reading some really good books because I've been financially secure with my job. So I'm really grateful for the financial security I got as an engineer in England, which led me to the path of reading, and then everything changed for me.
Awesome. Yeah, we were speaking before the podcast, and we actually had no idea that you are also based in the UK. So yeah, there you go. A privilege, a thing to be grateful for. But Daksh, before we jump any further, can you just give our audience a better understanding on your background so far and how you came to be where you are now, please?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I came to England in 2012 to study robotics, and I studied robotics for 4 years. And it wasn't an easy time because my dad had spent all his savings on my education, and it was scary time for me as well. I used to see all my friends going back home in Christmas, but I used to be here all by myself during Christmas holidays because I couldn't afford to go back. And all these things slowly played into my mind, and I used to feel that I'm not the only Indian student or the only Indian who's going outside their own country to find a better life. And what if our country was able to provide a better life for ourselves? And this question always used to bug me during my engineering days as well. I became an engineer, got a job. And once I became an engineer, I started earning. And once I started earning, I started questioning, and that question started bugging me again. So I started reading. And once I got into reading, I started reading self help books. And I was like, oh my God, this was the thing which was missing in my life as a teenager. And if I would have, read this stuff before, I would have made a life for myself, even back in India. And this is one of the main reasons why, because school teaches you how to be a good employee, but it doesn't teaches you how to be an independent thinker and make a life for yourself. And this is where books play a very important role. And once I realized that, I was like, oh my God, this is the answer to my question that was bugging me, that why did I have to come outside, and why can't people make a life for themselves in back home? So I thought, how can I help the Indians back home in my country? I started my own YouTube channel, which was purely in the Indian language. So I saw there are lots of really good YouTube channels in English. Americans are doing a very good job. British people are doing a very good job, but there were hardly quality educational channels for the Indian audience. So I started with my YouTube channel. And then on YouTube, there was this growth hack in which you go and write comments on other people's YouTube videos so that people start, looking at you. And once I started writing meaningful comments, I saw people started loving my comments, and my comments started getting top liked in those videos. So that made me realize that I have some kind of writing skill as well, which people connect to really well. So I was like, okay, I can make videos on YouTube. Where else? What else? How else can I help Indian audience? So I went on Instagram. At that time, Instagram was a very good writing platform with carousels. There were no Instagram reels or anything. So I was like, okay, I started my own Instagram page, and I started writing all the knowledge which I gained from the books, and I implemented in my life. I started writing it in a very connecting way, and audience started connecting. And then slowly my Instagram page started taking off, and mindset and habits became my niche, because that is where I've been living by myself for 9 years. So that is how I've trained myself as well, to have a strong mindset and to have those good habits as well, to build a life for myself. And this is what I teach as well through my YouTube and Instagram accounts. And now I have my own mentorship program running as well, in which on weekends I'm helping individuals one-to-one in helping achieving their life goals by setting them on right habits and mindsets. So yeah, this is how my journey started, and this is where I am.
Wow, thank you for sharing first and foremost. And I gotta admit, both myself and Bogdan have probably been in a similar position as you, discovering books and being like blown away about the fact that, wow, apparently there's a reality here and another reality there. Whereas when you start developing your mindset, you see the same things differently. You see things differently to other people, but yeah, I think a good question to ask you is, what was the actual first book that has introduced you to the whole self-development scene, and how did you have that breakthrough when you actually started reading more and more?
So basically, when I was working, I was watching Sherlock Holmes a lot, and I really loved that TV series. And when Sherlock Holmes used to finish, the season used to finish, the next season used to come out in like next 2 years or something. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next season. So I thought, okay, there might be something more. And I just went to a local library, and I was like, okay, I'll start reading detective novels. So I picked up a very sci-fi detective novel, Newbery and Holmes, and that was the first book I ever completed. And it was very, very interesting. So basically, I followed that simple tip, which I heard later on other people saying as well, that start by reading what you love till you love to read. So I somehow unconsciously I did that. So I started reading a lot of detective novels, a lot of fiction books at that time. And then once I got the confidence of reading that I can finish books, then I thought, okay, what else can I do with my reading skill? Can I read biographies of Elon Musk? And, can I read stuff about space? So there was this particular book called How to Make a Spaceship.
Hey, just a quick break for you here, guys. If you haven't already checked out the description and the show notes, you've got around 9 books that have been discussed during this conversation. You've got the links to all of them. So yeah, just check them out. And also, if you haven't already, please do consider giving us a 5-star rating review on iTunes, purely because that's probably the only way that this podcast is going to get seen by more people like yourself. And with your help, we'll just reach more ears, and little by little, we'll have a greater impact. But yeah, that was it. Back to the discussion.
And I literally thought that book is about making a spaceship. I was very much interested into space. But once I read that book, that was the first biography I read unintentionally. It was biography of Peter Diamandis. And I was completely blown away by that biography, the things that guy had achieved in his life. He was studying a medical degree, but he studied a space degree by side without telling his parents because he wanted to be an astronaut. It turned out that he can't become an astronaut because of an injury in his eye. So he started his own international space university to help other people who wants to become an astronaut, to give them an easier way. Not many people do that. If they can't fulfill their dream, they move on to the next one. But that guy tried to make that dream easier for the people. And then he was like, the space industry is very much, it was very, very unstimulated at that time. It was like early 2000s. SpaceX wasn't there as well. It was in very initial stages. So he thought that space industry should be rejuvenated, and he started his X Prize challenge. So X Prize, I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's a very big organization solving a lot of problems all around the world. So he started X Prize and it's still running. And because of X Prize, we have Virgin Galactic today, Richard Branson's space company. And I was completely blown away. I was like, even he has a single life. He has the same amount of time, and he has same amount of passion for a particular thing. And he is doing so much with it. And this is when I realized that working as an employee is not and earning money and spending money on petty pleasure is not the only way of living life. You can create so many wonderful things which can impact so many people in a very positive way. And that book completely derailed me from a very, typical mindset to a very growth mindset, I would say. That book was a turning point.
Really nice. Yeah, awesome. Really inspiring. I mean, everybody, I think, has to have like a wake-up call where they find out that they can be more or they can do more. And it's really interesting how it came to you, this guy, because for me, Elon Musk was the role model as well. First time when I started to actually read the books, I started to follow him on Instagram and on Twitter. And funny enough, I read his book, but he inspired me. And that was the point when I said, okay, if this guy went through this much, I mean, if I'm going through 5% of what that guy went through, I'm going to be like extremely accomplished. So why not try, But
exactly. Yeah. This is why I feel biographies are so strong and so important, because they are not typical self-help books telling you what to do. They are actually showing you what difficulties you face while doing those things, all the failures you need to get out of, and all the relationship problems you need to get out of to achieve your dreams. It's so good. So that's why like biographies have been my typical go-to read books even today.
Sam Walton's one, I highly recommend if you haven't read already.
Sam Walton, is he the one who started that shopping thing in America?
Yeah.
It's on my TBR. I've got Disney. I've got Disney's biography, Walt Disney's biography. So I'm really looking forward to read that. But yeah, I'll definitely order that.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, Daksh, I'm really curious because, I mean, me and Pasco as well, like yourself, were in the position where we were not necessarily born in a like rich country, because like you said, you were born in India, us, we were born in Romania. And then after a while, we came to UK. Funny enough, all of us came to UK. And for me and for Pasco, I know it was hard at the beginning to actually just like get like used to the things that other people were doing. And most probably you were feeling like a stranger as well, because like you were a stranger in a nutshell. And I'm really curious, how did you like accommodate over there? How did you get used to the things, and how was your mindset? How like you got past that mentality and started to actually like become the person who you are now?
So when I came to UK during my university life, I was very much into South Asian groups. So like Pakistani community, Indian community, because I could relate to them. I could relate to, but what happened was I realized that if I stay with those groups, I started noticing that thing, that if I stay with those particular community, Pakistani, Bangladesh, or Indian communities, I get to learn nothing because they talk about the same things which you talk about back in your own country. They have the same mindset. I couldn't push myself during my university days because I was a little scared and I was very much focused in my, in my exams and my studies. So in my university, I was still in a very typical South Asian community. But once I started earning, I think money gives you so much confidence. People say that don't run behind money, run behind skills. That's completely true. But once you become skillful and start earning money, it gives you so much confidence to try new things, to try more things. And once I started earning, I started having that confidence of going out for dinners, going out with my colleagues. Because during my university days, I used to live very frugally because it was very expensive for me. But during my office life, my proper professional life, it became very interesting. Especially, I started interacting with a lot of intellectual colleagues. During my office time, I started reading articles about quantum physics and, everything related to science, because I was very enthusiastic about science at that time. And we started having lunch conversations, like arguments on Einstein's theory, like all my British friends and me. And I noticed rest of the Indian friends of mine, they weren't interested in these talks. And this is where I thought I started stepping out of my comfort zone when I started having those conversations. And they made me very, very confident, those lunchtime conversations with my British friends. And because of that, I've still got some very, very good British friends. And that gave me confidence to go out and talk to the British community and made me realize how nice they are and how welcoming they are. And now I have really good neighbors. They treat me like family. They invite me during Christmas because they know that last two Christmas I haven't been going home because of COVID. So they invite me in their home during Christmas, which means the world to me, because Christmas is a very family festival. And, so I celebrated Christmas with them. I have colleagues at my work who take me to their caravans in Lake District, and we stay there in their caravan and we chill and hang out. So those lunchtime conversations, stepping out of that comfort zone, made me very, very, very confident. And for that, I had to gain new knowledge. I had to read new stuff, to talk about that stuff, to attract those kind of people. If you don't do that, you will always remain in the same community, talk about the same stuff, go through the same cycle, which is not good for you, because that is where you feel stagnant. And this is what I've seen majority of the Indian community here. They just, they feel very lonely. They feel very lonely, even in profession. If they become professionals, they feel very lonely. But I'm very grateful for that I don't feel anything like that, because of all the relationships I've built up, because of the knowledge and the conversational skills which I've developed over the years. So I'm very grateful. I don't feel a little bit of that at all.
Brilliant. You touched upon quite a few things, and thank you for sharing once again. I wanted to ask you, let's say 3 tips of advice for someone who is now in the position that you used to be, not necessarily like in university, but in the mindset that you used to be trapped inside. What would those 3 tips, actionable tips, be from you to that person to come out of that mindset loop where they basically kind of stay in their bubble?
So first thing I would say is that you need to accept the culture. You need to accept wherever you are. And if you want to get out of your bubble, you need to accept you are in a bubble. And then to pop that bubble, you need to take in the new information by noticing things around. For example, okay, I had this team I was working in, and I used to notice that that particular team at office used to talk about Formula One a lot, Formula One racing. And I hadn't watched Formula One in my life at all. But I knew if I go and watch Formula One race, it's going to make me a better conversationalist during those conversations. And I went and I watched, and I love sports, okay? Any kind of sport. I started watching Formula One, and I started participating in those conversations. Then in Formula One, you go deep into car physics, how the cars are built and how the cars are different every year. That made me even more interesting. And we started having more deep conversations about that, and that helped me. So basically, those common topics you need to start noticing in your environment, what other people are into, because I think there is a bit of an ego that comes in where we expect other people to come and talk to us and
Yeah.
come and talk to the things which we are interested in.
Yeah.
But when you are in a completely different country, you need to realize that you need to get over that ego, and you need to be proactive and take that step yourself by noticing what other people are interested in and contributing towards those things. So that has helped me a lot. That simple part of noticing what other people are interested in and digging deeper and then coming back and talking about that stuff, that helps a lot. This is what I was lacking in university. I had started picking up on it a little bit when I made some Dutch friends who were very much interested in microcontrollers and robotics. And I learned about it by myself, and I could conversate with them about those stuff. I had some Romanian friends as well. They told me that their grandparents loved watching Indian dramas and stuff, and they were into programming. So I made some Romanian friends as well. So I started stepping out slowly. But the biggest thing is to start observing your environment and then reacting or proactively, accepting that environment and trying to gel in by changing yourself slowly.
Interesting. So basically, just to recap, first you have to understand that accept the fact that you are in your own bubble.
Yeah.
Second, in order to pop that bubble, you have to basically, like Dale Carnegie says, in order to be interesting, you have to become interested. So you basically have to make common ground with those people, so you can start conversations with them. And further along the line, you'll basically start being rewarded for those conversations with relatives, with new friends, new opportunities.
Exactly. And these conversations can go so deep. For example, my neighbor, he's from Irish background, and all the things which happened with IRA and Bloody Sunday, I didn't know anything about that. And when he told me about it, I dug deeper. I watched movies around those topics. Our conversations became so much deeper, and you have that emotional connect, because if someone is coming to you and talking to you about your country's history, about your history which you actually faced, you actually feel very safe and connected with that person. So this skill is so important to become interested in other people's lives.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I wanted to ask you, Daksh, there's definitely, I can see a very big difference between your day-to-day profession and what you're doing on the side. And I would want to ask you, how are you managing everything? How do you find the time?
There's so much time, actually. The thing is, now my friends know that I'm not available for majority of the activities because they know I'm busy. So I started small. I started taking out just 30 minutes every day for my YouTube first. And I broke down the whole YouTube process into Monday, I'll just do a title search. Tuesday, I'll just write the script. Wednesday, I'll shoot. Thursday, I'll edit. Friday, I'll make the thumbnail. And Saturday, I'll push out the video. So once I broke the whole video into small process during the whole week, it became very easy to take out that 30 minutes, 45 minutes every day to do that thing. And once YouTube started going a little good, and I became very comfortable with YouTube, that time actually squeezes, because what took you 1 hour to do, now you've become familiar with it. It takes you hardly 35, 40 minutes now. So you start having that extra time. And in that extra time, I started coming on Instagram, writing on Instagram, and slowly I started allocating 30 minutes more to Instagram. So once I started allocating time, the biggest thing was I found that purpose, which was to help all the Indians back home, so that, if they can't afford to go to a country, they can build a good lifestyle for themselves in India itself. So once I connected with that purpose, it energized me. It kept me fueled during the whole week. And I started contributing more time towards it. And even if, I used to think, sometimes I used to have this, why am I doing all this? I used to question myself, if not this, what would you be doing? You would be watching Netflix. And how is that good? And once I started questioning that, okay, let's go back to that. At least whatever time I'm spending in making content is creating an impact outside. So if you just start taking out even 30 minutes every day, if you start with just 30 minutes every day, for the whole week, you will be able to achieve some very, very good results during that time. It's all about consistency over a long period of time. So even small blocks of time can give you very good results over a long period.
Yeah, but most of the people are just expecting results now or
Yeah.
tomorrow. But like you said, I mean, like when you start doing something for the first maybe even like 1 year, you won't get any, not necessarily results, but any like monetization out of it. And that's frustrating because you are motivated by the results that you have. Otherwise, you gotta like motivate yourself through self-discipline.
Yeah.
This is how it works. But yeah, I mean, we spoke about the past and about the present, but I'm really curious about your future. What are your future plans?
So yeah, I talk about it a lot. Actually, my future plan is to make my own education system. So I don't want to change any education system because I feel bringing a change takes more effort and more time, especially when I read in history that when Germany and Japan was completely put to ground during the World War, they became more developed than the developed countries now because they didn't have to change their systems. They had to create new systems, and creating new systems is much more efficient than changing your current system, which is a tedious task. So that is why I thought I want to create my own education system. I don't know how big it will be, even if it's like a very small system in which I'm training 50 students every month. I'm happy with that. But my end goal is to have my most ambitious goal is to have my own universities, have my own schools, have my own online courses where education for professionals doesn't stop after they finish their college. They can still sign up for my college in which they learn life skills and which helps them to tackle all their personal emotional issues during their lives. And teenagers can sign up for my school in which they are taught how to be an independent thinker rather than spoon fed. So that is one of my final aims. But yeah, these are all baby steps towards that aim. The one thing I've realized through biography is that like for Mahatma Gandhi's biggest aim was to unite India, unite Hindus and Muslims together, and unite the whole Hindu community together. But he never achieved it. I would say he was the most successful failure of his life. But he spent all his life trying doing that. In India, if you go, there are still communal and fights based on religion. There is still no, unity. But his thoughts still survived, and people are still trying hard to take his thoughts forward. So I would want to become something like whose thoughts and ideas still survive, even though if I can't revolutionize the whole world or create a whole education system which changes the whole world, somehow that baton survives and someone else takes it forward. So I want to leave something like that behind through my mini education system or whatever it turns out to be.
100%. And I think you've got it in your genes. If you look at like past generations, like if you go back like a couple of thousands of years ago to Buddha and what he's been able to impact, like I personally been recently like a month and a half ago to a Vipassana practice. Until actually attending and going through it, I had no idea how much of an impact that man had and how much good he has done in a lifetime. Like it's just incredible. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's just a matter of time for you as well, because you are coming from the same roots. You are coming from the same will to change. So definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But those are very big words. Like Buddha, oh my God. But exactly, Buddha he didn't manage to change the whole world, but his ideas survive, which are still being taken forward through other people and is still changing lives. So I just want those ideas to survive. And these ideas are very similar. We are just like, if we are just amplifiers of what's already been said before.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
are not coming up with something new. We are just making it more relevant to modern times.
Exactly.
So any self-help content creator is just an amplifier of the ancient knowledge.
100%. 100%. I mean, if you look at the self-development books that have been released in the last 2 decades, all of them are like 95% the same with Think and Go Rich.
Yeah.
Like all of them have the same essence, and like Think and Go Rich is just one of them. But there is like a lot of like old books that actually build a foundation.
Exactly.
But I wanted to ask you, because you are definitely the right person to ask this question. What are 2 or 3 habits that actually help you progress massively? What are those 2, 3 non-negotiable habits that you have to do every single day?
Workout, reading, and meditation. Okay, I know it's a very cliche answer, But workout, actually, I started working out when I was a teenager. I had a very bulky body and everything. I was completely focused on workout. But that habit survived through my college and is even here till now with me as professional. But that habit helped me during my emotional phases when I didn't have self-help books. When I had, when I had to deal with emotions such as pain, such as loss, breakups, that is when workout helped me a lot because I could channel that negative energy into my body through workout, through running, through push-ups, pull-ups. That was very helpful. Second habit, reading, which I picked up like 4 years back. It has increased my attention span. It has helped me see things from very different perspective. For example, if I'm eating today, I don't take my food for granted. When I've read a story about a North Korean girl who almost starved to death in her country and had to escape to China just to survive. So I see food from a different perspective now. So that has helped me a lot. And meditation has helped me by making me, by bringing a 5 second barrier between me and my impulse,
Mm-hmm.
which has been very, very good for me. Because if you want to do something long term, you need to calm down your impulses, whether it's anger, lust, any impulse. You need to calm them down. And the biggest thing to calming them down is to have that 5 second barrier, that before doing it you think for 5 seconds, and that is where your mental strength comes in, and you tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to do it. So meditation has helped me with that. So these three habits are like very, very important. And I've seen, like, especially authors like Yuval Noah Harari. I don't know if you've read his book,
Yeah.
Sapiens. He meditates like 2 hours a day. And he's like, if I didn't meditate, I wouldn't have written these books. So it can have such a massive impact on your long-term goals. And it's very underappreciated, I feel, because it's seen from a very, especially, in modern times, meditation is seen from a very mystical way, that you get to see some white light or you have mystical experiences. But if you get to the basic science of it, it's very interesting and it's very simple, and it can help you increase your productivity by so much. So these three habits, I would say: 15 minutes meditation, 30 minutes running, and 30 minutes exercising. If your listeners start with that, that's it. That's They are changing just 1 hour 15 minutes of their day. That's it. Just 1 hour 15 minutes of their day, and they do it consistently for 1 year. They will see a massive change in their life.
Mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. And it's funny enough, because all these things that you have mentioned, all the three habits, as we spoke earlier, they don't have like an effect right now. Like, especially meditation. I mean, you really gotta meditate for, like, I don't know, for me, especially, like, for me, it was like 6 months until I actually started to understand how it actually helped me to become more aware of your, like, feelings and about your reactions and about, like, all the thoughts that are going through your head, like just letting it go. But just wanted to ask you, because you have the YouTube channel as well, where I've seen some of your videos, and I've seen that, like, a lot of your videos are discussing, like, books review. And like, I'm really curious, what are, like, some of the best books that somebody can actually start with?
I think if you are a complete beginner into reading, then I would say start with thin books like A Man's Search for Meaning, such a powerful book, under 100 pages. A Richest Man in Babylon teaches you about personal finance. But if you are already into reading, then I think you should. This is what I've learned, that, and I've started transforming as well myself into biographies and philosophy. These two things will give you so much structure to your life, so much structure to your thinking pattern, and will give you so much perspective in life. Biography, especially if you read biographies about people from different countries like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, then if you go to America, it'll teach you about the world history. It'll teach you what goes on into the minds of these great leaders. And these skills are going to help you no matter if you're a student or if you're a professional. Whatever you learn from the biographies is very much transferable and practical in your own life. And second, philosophy, I feel, is very important, because especially in 21st century, where the hold of religion is very less on people's life, especially like if you come to West, even in India now, a lot of people are becoming atheists. So I think religion had a very important role in everyone's life, because religion gave structure to life, structure and discipline. For example, if you see Islam is one of the most successful religions today because it has that discipline. Okay, it has that discipline. It teaches people to pray 5 times a day. Pray is basically gratitude. 5 times a day you are praying, you are being grateful about what you have, you are reminding those principles. So every religion used to do that. Like, I come from Hindu background, Hinduism used to do that as well, but people have stopped following it. And religion was a very centralized, I would say, a centralized organization. That is why people stopped believing in it, because when anything becomes centralized, there's always a big chance of corruption, and that is where priests got corrupted in the Indian religion, Western religion, everything. But now spirituality, I see, is a decentralized form of religion. So if you follow spirituality and if you follow philosophy, philosophy will give you the ideas which can govern your life. So for example, if you read writings of Plato, and if you read writings of Henry David Thoreau, if you read writings of Nietzsche, they teach you how to live in the society, how to behave as an individual. They teach you how a society should work, an ideal society should work. Very, very good books and very powerful. And especially letters from Seneca. If you read Stoicism, it's really good and can make you so mentally strong. And this is what I feel everyone needs in their life, because religion going out and social media coming in, it's like a gap has been filled by something which is very, very negative. And social media only amplifies sexual content and super success content, big cars, big, so it just makes you feel like you're missing out on something. And even if you go to news channels now, most of the news channels are just selling fear, because fear and success and sex, these three things arouse us. And when we are in that arousal state, we are very prone to advertising. Anything which is advertised to us easily sinks into our subconscious mind. So if you disconnect from these media and if you go into books, then biographies and philosophy can completely change you as a person. And good biographies to start with would be Obama's biography, Dreams from My Father, How to Make a Spaceship, Peter Diamandis, and Elon Musk's biography, and I would say Mahatma Gandhi's biography. They are very, very good. And if you want to start with philosophy, then read Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday's books, they'll take you into Stoicism. And if you want to go deeper, then start reading the ancient philosophers like Plato, Socrates. They'll take you even deeper, and they'll make you think a lot about life.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. And of course, when it comes to books, I think it's worth mentioning that one, it's all just subjective preferences. And as much as I personally endorse all the books that you mentioned, people have to see what works for them and what preferences they might
exactly.
have. And how they like to integrate books into their day-to-day life. Because there's people that don't even comprehend Stoicism, and they are not really about that. And there's people like us that really love the likes of Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and so on and so forth. But I wanted to ask you, because we kind of went into that area a bit, talking about impulses, talking about how sex sells online, basically. And I wanted to take your honest views and opinion, if you wish, on NoFap and how it affects or how it benefits people nowadays.
See, with NoFap, there have been so many videos made on NoFap from a spiritual point of view that it helps you conserve a lot of spiritual energy, which can be used in different ways. But I see it is from a very simple point of view. So basically, sex is like whenever someone talks about sex, or whenever there is something provocative on internet, our focus completely goes there subconsciously. Okay. And if you want to create something in your life, you need to control your focus. And the more you try NoFap, the more you are practicing controlling your focus. As simple as that. And the more control you have over your focus, the less time you will spend into giving into impulses, and the more time you will spend into creating something new. I don't know how effective spiritually or how effective is it for your body, but practically, if you see from a very productivity, from a very, making a life for yourself, it's very, very effective, because if you can get over your sexual impulses, then no girl is going to distract you. No, online porn is going to distract you. You won't get triggered by anything online, and you will have full control of your energy. Like, and if you give into fapping, then once you get addicted to porn or anything like that, your whole energy and diversion goes into that. I've seen my friends in my age who are craving to date, because that is where all their energy is going, because that is what social media is amplifying. So they are trying to romanticize their life around dating. And once you try to find happiness in people instead of your habits and routines and instead of yourself, that is when I feel you are making a biggest mistake, because one of the saddest truth of life is that in the end, it takes away everything from you. And the only thing you're left with is your own habits and your own routines, which will always pay you back, no matter if they're good or bad. If they're bad, they'll pay you back in bad health, bad mindset. If they're good, they'll pay you back in good health, good mindset, happy state of mind. So that's where I feel NoFap is really good. It helps you to take control of your focus. I don't know about the spiritual side. I don't know its effect on your body or anything, but I know its effect on my focus. And it has made me very much focused into what I want to create.
What you just said is literally music to our ears and to our listeners' ears.
Yeah, and we have some background as well, and we had some guests talking about this, and like, yeah, totally agree. NoFap is like a must in your habits if you really want to evolve as an individual. But Daksh, just wanted to ask you like a more personal question, and it goes like this: what was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome in order to become the person who you are today? If you can share it with our audience.
I think the biggest challenge I had to overcome was I always used to feel that it was kind of a very, to be honest, I didn't have any major physical hurdles or any major financial hurdles. I never took them seriously, but the major hurdles that had always troubled me were mental hurdles, especially when I used to think that there could be so many people who could be here in my position studying abroad, and they aren't, just because they don't have the money to do it. That used to send me into a very much of a self-guilt loop, that I am what I am just because of my dad's money. And that's what used to make me very guilty about myself. And I never, it made me underappreciate what I had. And my dad wasn't rich either. If I look back, I can realize he spent all his savings on me. So he wasn't rich either. But that simple way of looking at that situation made me underappreciate what I had. And because of that, I suffered for a couple of years, because I used to talk to my mom, and I used to tell her that, life is very unfair and I shouldn't be here and someone else should have been here, someone who deserved it more. And I've heard many people, like my sister used to get taunted in school that one of her classmates stood up in class and said that I will go abroad one day, but I will go on full scholarship. I won't waste my dad's money. So even my family was facing those kind of situations where people were taunting them that why are you spending so much money on education? And that was something at my back of mind as well. But now if I look back and I connect the dots, I feel I was very grateful, and I realized why I was given this opportunity and why things happened. And because of those opportunities, I am who I am today. And because of that fear of money, because of that guilt that, anyone can do what I've done already. Anyone who has the money to do. Because of that, I pushed myself further to do something more, which even people with money can't do. They'll have to push themselves further mentally and physically, like starting my own business, YouTube channel, Instagram. So I think those were the key things. If you see them from a negative perspective, they can pull you down and make you ungrateful. But if you see it from a positive perspective, which takes a lot of time and practice to change that perspective, it can completely change your life around, and it can become a great push into your life, that how you can help solve that problem for other people. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for, but that was one of the biggest hurdles which I faced.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting how different people are facing different problems, and how big a problem can be in someone else's head when if you like ask someone else, not necessarily like in your case, but if you like ask someone else, and if you tell someone else your problems, they will maybe like but bro, this is nothing compared to me. And like he hears your problem, he's like, no, your thing is nothing, because everybody's facing different demons, and everybody, like you said, have like different patterns of thinking and different like habits.
Exactly.
And obviously, like what's affecting you might not necessarily affect me, and the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is one thing I've learned as well, that don't judge other people through their problems. Don't think that their problem is lesser than yours, because you don't know what that problem is doing into their minds.
Exactly.
Because this is what I've seen many people do that to me, or I did that as well, ignorantly with other people as well. But this is something I've become very self-aware of that. And this is helping me in my mentorship program now, because anyone who comes to my mentorship program, I don't take their problem lightly. Even if they say that they want to build a reading habit, I don't take it lightly. Okay, you've signed up for this, just a reading habit. I can teach you so many things. You just want to learn reading habit, but I don't judge or anything. It's simply, I know it. This is something which is important for them, and you don't know why he wants to do that. And once he goes deeper, it makes sense. And so don't judge people through their problems. I would say don't try to push anyone down because you think their problem is lesser than yours.
Definitely. Ignorance is bliss. And I think in this case, specifically when it comes to like certain situations and certain people in certain backgrounds, I think, as you said, it all comes down to like empathizing with them and like putting yourself in their shoes, but at the same time, not putting yourself in their shoes because it's going to be different for you. For example, if like, if I look a certain way, or if I go to the gym 5 times a week and I hear someone like being very happy that they ran like 1 mile this week, I'm like, what the fuck is 1 mile? Like, come on, like you have to work harder. But at the same time, that 1 mile run for that person might have been the biggest accomplishment they've done in like 6 months. So you can,
that's a very good
example. Yeah. And the thing is, we tend to like see everything through a lens. We tend to like, obviously it's natural because you see everything from your own perspective, your own experiences, your own accomplishments. And I see this with people I admire. Like I see this with people I look up to, where they are like, oh, I look at all of my accomplishments, like you haven't done shit. And I'm like, bro, as much as I like your content, you shouldn't say that to people, because it doesn't come off as fair play from their side. But I wanted to ask you, Daksh, as we are approaching towards the end of our conversation, long after you are gone, what do you want to be remembered for or as?
I want people to remember me for a person who tried making people focus on work rather than things. So my education system, anything I leave behind, should remind people of focusing on their work and not on things, because things kill planet, but work fulfills you and it helps you to do what you want. So just that simple thing, if people remember that through my work, that'll be a very good thing to leave behind. As you know, even if 10 people out of 100 pick that thing up and just focus on work, we are saving our planet. 10 people are being less consumeristic.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, with all the mess that is happening currently in our society, and everybody's just focusing on buying and buying because inflation is big as well, and everybody's just thinking, okay, I have to buy this, I have to buy that.
Black Friday.
Exactly.
Black Friday as well. I mean, and I really have so much respect for people like you, Daksh, because like you said, maybe like 99% of the people who are answering this question, what do you want to be remembered for as? They will say like, I want to be remembered as the guy who had a big house, had this very nice car, and had some money. But for what? You got to like give something back. Like you said, your work, your dedication, your discipline.
Exactly. And I think, as I said, like this is what the ancients talk about as well. We are just an amplifier. So if my amplification becomes good enough and connects with more people, I wouldn't be happier.
Yeah, definitely. And one could argue that we are just reincarnations of those ancient people that have changed the history and world. We can be the same people just in the future, basically thinking that we are just amplifying them, but we are amplifying ourselves into the future pretty much.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Definitely.
But yeah, man, if you read Gandhi's life, oh my God, the way he got over his impulses, and he did some experiments which became very controversial, and people hate Gandhi for those experiments even today. So he slept naked with one of his granddaughters, and they don't know the whole story behind it. The story behind it was this: that India was going through a lot of violence, and Gandhi felt that because everyone was calling him the father of the nation, and he felt that there is somewhere lust or non-violence inside me, which is being reflected, because what parent does, child reflects.
Yeah.
So this is what he thought: there is some kind of lust or non-violence inside me, which is getting reflected through the Indian people, and that is where we still have violence. And he tried to test his will of chastity. That's what we call, by sleeping with a girl, and they slept naked, and they didn't do anything at night. But he has written it in his biography, Experiments with Truth, if you read about it. And people take it in a very different way, because this is how this is how I think this is where you need to have that broadened vision towards life, that you need to know the reason behind why people are doing certain things.
Yeah.
And I really admire the way he controlled all his impulses and ended up creating something which his ideas, which truth and non-violence, so simple things, truth and non-violence, his ideas, which are amplified everywhere in every country. And they helped so many, like they inspired Martin Luther King, they inspired Barack Obama, and they're still inspiring inspiring generations of people like me. So something like this, just those simple ideas, by setting an example by myself and leaving it through my work, that'll be amazing. Like, just focus on your work, not on things.
You've definitely motivated me to add it to my Amazon basket just
Yeah.
now. But I think if you really think about it, those two ideas will be eternal, because there's never going to be enough truth, and there's never going to be a moment, unfortunately, I'm just negative now, where all the violence will stop and everyone will actually get to the realization that we are all in this together, and we actually are supposed to be helping each other out and like spreading love, rather than anger, greed, lust, and all the other negative emotions.
Exactly. That is why I say he was the most successful failure. That is why, even if you go to Jesus Christ's teachings, Buddha's teachings, anyone's teaching, they have never changed the whole world. But their teachings survive, and they're still making impact, even on 10%, which is still creating positivity and giving those 90% people a hope, a hope for a better world. If we don't have positive people like this, knowing that they won't be able to change the whole world, that's it, we'll be doomed. There would be no positive content, there would be no amplification, which we guys are doing. It would all be very pessimistic and all be very, very negative. So we need those, few 10% people who are being positive to have that kind of an effect on the rest of the population, so that they have the hope of a better future. Elon Musk, he's such a big optimistic about everything. We wouldn't have people like him.
Yeah, I think the universe is always doing a great job in balancing the yin and the yang in societies.
Exactly.
So yeah, hopefully that will keep going.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are doing a good job as well. And thank you so much for inviting me. I don't know if you've got more questions. I would be.
We've got just one last big question.
Just the last one. As much as we love to, as much as we love our conversation, it has to have an end. And we got to be aware of your time and also our audience time. So if you need some time, because this one is going to be deeper, let's say that way. I mean, just take it. So it goes like this. Imagine that you are on your deathbed, and right in front of you, there is the best version of yourself looking at you. You see and comprehend what you could have become. So how would you feel about yourself and about the life that you have lived in that specific moment?
Interesting. So he represents the most optimum version of me.
Exactly.
I think, the only thing that'll come to my mind would be that I wish I controlled my impulses more and I could have been that person. That would be the biggest thing that'll come, because I feel what stops people from becoming the best version of themselves is their impulses. Either it's food, sex, entertainment, anything. I think it's impulses. So that would be the only thought. Okay, I wasn't in complete control of my impulses. That is why I can still see a better version of myself in front of me, and that will inspiration won't do anything to me since I'm on my deathbed. So it'll give me regret that I wish I could have controlled my impulses even more to contribute more. And, because becoming a better version of yourself doesn't mean you're doing it selfishly, you're doing it selflessly, because the more, the better version you become, the more you can contribute, the longer time you can contribute. For like Tony Robbins, oh my God, his energy
Yeah.
levels, even at this age.
Look at his voice.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So this is why I feel that, I need to stay fit. I need to stay mentally and physically fit so that I can contribute more, serve more. And this is what I will feel on my deathbed as well, that I wish I had controlled. I hadn't had that pizza on a weekend, or I hadn't had that Coke, and I would have controlled my impulses more.
But most probably you're going to be looking into a mirror, Daksh, because come on, there's so many things that you could have done, like you said, and basically you are who you are because you have done what you have done, with the good and the bad as well. So yeah, we are beyond grateful to have you here and to share your experiences with us and our audience as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. The last question was very interesting. It just motivated me and made me imagine that scenario, and it made me realize that I don't want to be in that scenario, and I want to see myself. That's what, it just hits, it just makes the reality hit to you right on your face. So thank you for that question. Very interesting. Thank you so much,
Brilliant.
guys. It's been fun. Yeah, it's been fun.
I appreciate the fact that you managed to see through the question and you learned the lesson.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that said, before we let you go, I just want to give you the red carpet. Any resources that you want to share with our audience, where they can find you? All the links are going to be in the description, so you can tell them about the mentorship, about the YouTube, anything you want.
So all your listeners can find me on YouTube. I know my YouTube videos are currently in Hindi, but I'll be putting out English captions for them. But all of my Instagram content is in English, and that is what I aim for, because I thought Instagram is very international, and I think that kind of information belongs to everyone. And you can find me on Instagram, Daksh Jindal. You can find me on YouTube as Daksh Jindal. And you'll see my picture in a grey t-shirt reading a book. So my picture is same across all the platforms. And you can even find me on Twitter now. I've started writing on Twitter, Daksh Jindal. So I write some great learnings or reflections that I get through thinking or through doing something on Twitter as well. So you can follow me on Twitter. And I've started my own mentorship program, a 1-month mentorship program, where I coach you to develop that mindset and habits towards your long-term goals within a month. And it's very cheap. If you convert it to British money, it's £25 for the whole month, in which I give you 4 1-to-1 sessions and 1 introductory call to learn more about you. And if you don't see the results at the end of the month, you get your money back. Fortunately, no one has asked for their money back till now. So I'm not proud financially, but I'm proud I'm actually delivering what I said. So that makes me a little happy that yes, people are happy with the course. So yeah, you can sign up for my mentorship program. Go to dakshjindal.com, my website. It tells you about the program and the whole registration process. My December batch is packed, January batch is half full. So if you want to sign up, go to my website. Yeah. And hopefully in future, you'll find me on more platforms, podcasts and everything. But for now, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and my website, dakshjindal.com. So everywhere, Daksh Jindal.
Awesome. You heard Daksh, guys. Definitely, He's doing a lot of service right now for providing people with such a cheap service for what he offers. So yeah, definitely take advantage. And with that said, Daksh, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm Pascu.
This is Bogdan, and you guys stay grateful. Take care.
Thank you so much for sticking all the way till the end. This shows that you are serious about taking your life to the next level and doing that through a perspective of gratitude. If you enjoyed this interview, it would help us massively if you could give us a 5-star rating review on iTunes, or else share this on your stories and tag us. This way, with your help, our message will be seen by more people, and together we will make this world a better place.